Welcome to Mommy's on a Call, your sacred space to laugh, learn, and feel like a real grown-up human for a hot minute. I'm Stephanie Uchima Carney, a mom of 3 under 6, serial entrepreneur, business strategist, and donut connoisseur, just trying to get through the day one cold cup of coffee at a time. I believe that with more intention, a positive mindset, and self-care, it is possible to thrive in motherhood, business, and life. My mission is to uncover the daily rituals, life lessons, real-life tactics, and favorite tools to inspire and empower you, mommy, to get the most out of life every single unpredictable day. So grab your headphones, tell your kids you're on the potty, and tune in weekly for some laughs, knowledge bombs, and plenty of real talk with real moms, and maybe a dad or two. Welcome to the Mommy Pod. Happy Friday, everyone. I wanted to do a little recap of a retreat I just went on last weekend. Last weekend, I signed up for my friend's retreat. It was to go to Joshua Tree. It was only an overnight, and I had been planning it for a really long time. I was really excited to go. I had booked an Airbnb, and I was planning on spending Friday to Sunday in the desert. And somewhere along the line, I accidentally invited my family to come because it was a long weekend and I felt bad that they were at home and, mom guilt started to creep in. And somehow my entire family was going to head to Joshua Tree with me. I sat with it for a little and I was thinking, oh, did I make the wrong decision? Is this going to be the worst thing ever? I was so excited for like me time because I haven't been on a retreat in almost 5 years. And it ended up being one of the best weekends in a really long time, especially with everything going on in the world right now. Our family needed that break. And so I wanted to talk about what did it look like? How did it all work? And also this idea that we can actually integrate our family into our own personal journey and our own, not self-care, because I hate that word, but in our own self-development. I signed up for this retreat. We were going last minute. I decided, okay, it'd be great if my entire family was there. So I canceled my Airbnb. I rebooked one because I thought if I'm going to have all 3 kids there, we need more bedrooms and we need something fun for them to do. So I looked for something with a hot tub close to town, etc. I knew I would be gone from Saturday morning at 10 a.m. until about Sunday at lunchtime. I'd come back to sleep, but for the most part, I'd be gone. So I wanted to make sure it was comfortable for them. It ended up being incredible. It was really exciting because our family had never been to Joshua Tree before. And actually, the last time I remember going to Joshua Tree was in 7th grade when we had our outdoor education rock climbing and backpacking trip. And honestly, I don't remember much from it except for the fact that I was like 12 years old camping. But Joshua Tree is really close to Los Angeles. It's about a 3.5 hour drive. And I thought, it'd be great. The kids can run around, they can climb on rocks, or, we'll figure it out. Our trip started off on Friday and we drove out to the desert. We made one stop at, of course, In-N-Out to eat dinner. And we got there at night and it was kind of a mellow night. And then the next morning is when the retreat started. So I was able to get up. We went to the farmer's market on Saturday morning in Joshua Tree. We got breakfast. And because kids get up really early, the retreat starting at 10 was like super late in the day for us. So they dropped me off at the retreat and I was there from 10 a.m. until after dinner and I didn't get back until after bedtime. And during that time, I made a commitment that I would be completely present and focused on the retreat. But then when I was outside and with my family outside the retreat, I would be completely present with them. And I think that made a huge difference because I really absorbed and dove into everything that was happening instead of having my mind in different places. During that day, it was a retreat for my friend. It was called the Moon Medicine Retreat, and she's doing like small groups of women, taking them out. And she is an incredible Reiki healer, but also Akashic records, meditation, yin yoga. But really just I know it sounds a little woo-woo, and trust me, I am, like, not into the woo-woo thing, but I dabble in it, but she's incredible. It was really just a nice break and space for us to think inward and to really tap into our intuition and to just get clear on what we want right now. And I think I needed that quiet and that silence and that time in nature to focus on what the upcoming year's going to look like. And so it wasn't really a business trip. It was more just personal nourishment because this is what I needed right now. I was looking for a spiritual tune up. That's why I personally went. And so then got home in the evening. My kids apparently had an amazing movie night. And then the next morning, I woke up, I had an early breakfast with them and then headed to the retreat early. I had another breakfast, second breakfast. I love to eat. And again, spent that morning really diving deep into all of that work, all of that spiritual and mental work, and put my blinders on and focused in on being present. And I think that just whole integration of combining my own personal needs with having my family there actually worked out so much better than I anticipated. And as I mentioned, it's been 5 years since I've been on an actual retreat. And I realized just how much I miss them, how much I miss that time to like focus on myself that's outside the hustle and bustle of everything. And even though I was only on that retreat for less than 36 hours, it completely refueled me. It helped give me that space to fill my own cup of what I needed. And again, I said it was like a little bit of spiritual work and quiet time in nature, which is what I needed, but it also gave me time to spend with my family outside of our house. And I thought that was so cool because I was able to integrate personal development with family time. And it's really it just turned into this amazing family trip. So then afterwards, we explored this place called Pioneer Town. The kids like fed chickens, they ran around. And honestly, it was a nice break from all of the LA COVID stuff because it's kind of getting crazy where we are. So to be out in open air desert, like not around any people, was incredible. During the retreat, during that time of silence and space, I really honed in on like, what do I see this podcast becoming? What do I see like my business becoming? Where am I going? It kept coming up over and over around this topic of just motherhood and what the new 2022 definition of motherhood is really about. And it became clear that I'm really on this mission to shift the paradigm of motherhood. What does that mean now? What is the future of it? What do our integrated roles look like? What is this new identity that we've created for ourselves? And during the retreat, she kept mentioning the word integration and the context of like making sure once we leave, we integrate the work into our daily lives. And I literally raised my hand and said, I have like the dumbest question, but what do you mean by integrate? Because I don't really quite understand. It started to put me down this path of thinking, like, okay, what's the definition of integration? And what does she mean by integrating this sort of work into our daily lives? And it led on this path of thinking, well, what about integrating the roles in our lives? I always talk about the difference between roles and identities. And like, you have clear roles. You're a mom, you're a boss, you're a coach, you're a wife, a friend. But in reality, we're kinda integrated in all of that, and so what is instead of this idea of, like, work-life integration, I started thinking about of in the fact of what about personal plus everything else integrated? How can we integrate our personal passions, like our creative pursuits and our whole selves, kinda like what I did for this retreat, with everything else in the world or in our lives? So, like, family and work and friends and all of that. How do we create boundaries and find space and time to nurture ourselves with more than just generic quote self care? But anyway, sort of getting deep here, step back a little. But what I'm trying to unpack is this desire to shift the way motherhood looks in 2022 moving forward. How can I best serve moms out there? Like, what do you need? Like, honestly, like, DM me. Like, what do you need? I know we like all joke around and like say, like, oh, we need to be, away from our kids, or oh, we need space. Oh, we need this. But like, what truly do you need? Like, what is going to fuel you? I'm looking at that. Like, what does self development for moms look like? What does motherhood look like moving forward? What does the 2022 mom life look like? And how is our role as a mom integrated into everything else that we do? What is this new identity that we're shaping? So it's got me a lot thinking about like, how can I best serve you? How can I best serve my listeners? How can I best serve my audience? I'd love to hear any feedback about, what you love learning about on the podcast. What are some of your passions? Some of your interests? What are the things that you do to fuel you outside of, the generic self-care, like, oh, I get a massage, oh, I go walk on the beach, but like truly, what are you interested in? What does self-development for moms look like? And I would love for you guys to be on this journey of helping redefine motherhood in 2022. See you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Mommy's on a Call. Your support means the absolute world to me. You can find the show notes for this episode and other goodies over at mommysonacall.com. And if you enjoyed this episode or have gotten value from the podcast, I would be so grateful if you could head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and review so that we can reach and empower more moms all over the world together. Thank you so much again, Mommy Pod, and I will see you here next time.